Ding ding! Ahoy, mateys! This is Angel Benton, and I'm here sailing the seven seas. And my voyages have now brought me to the South Pacific. Well, actually, it's the North Pacific because I'm in Japan. I'm coming to you live from Tokyo. I came here because, I used to live here when I worked at Tokyo Disneyland. And I went to my old neighborhood and I went to my old house. Shout out to Shane, my Rick's roommate. Um, uh, it's all different. Everything's different. They had this fierce garlic restaurant that used to be there that had the best garlic ramen and garlic gyoza. It's gone. It was at the Mona. The Mona's still there. Shoppers Plaza, which had the Daiei, is still there, except the Daiei is now called, what is it? I went there. It's Eon. Okay, but it's still a market, whatever. Um, and the ramen guy that was normally waiting outside, the the stall, he's gone too. It was just very frustrating. I was very disappointed. There was a lot of things that was wrong. It took a long time to get here too. For example, on the plane ride over here, I took enough pills to stun a yak. I took a Xanax, an Ambien, and a baclofen, which is a muscle relaxer, and I literally had 5 Bloody Marys, and none of it worked. You would think that something like that would kill somebody. That didn't even knock me out. Like, I did that on purpose so that I could sleep for the whole flight. I slept for none of the flight. I was a little irritated. Plus, I found out they didn't give me any of the paperwork that I needed to go through customs, so I had to fill all that shit out on my own. They only did like 2 pass-bys in 11 hours for service. It was not a good flight. I was kind of over it. It was annoying. But once we got here and we got checked in, everything worked out, and we went to, today we went and kind of checked out where we're supposed to be getting our tickets for tomorrow for Tokyo Disneyland, and that's cool. And I showed my new neighborhood, my old neighborhood. Um, and I want to give a special shout out to, so wait, before I do that, the last few days I have been not drinking, not just because I'm giving up booze for any reason. Lord knows that it's not true. But it's because I've just been too tired to drink. When I get home at night, I'm so exhausted. I just cannot I just, so, but those days are done. The best part about being in Japan is that I don't have to drive anywhere. So I could be blitzed the entire time I'm here. It's not going to happen, but it would be nice. But anyway, so a special shout out to my boy Kevin Vincent and my girl Melissa Ty and Shane Simmons again because I'm here with your friend Lemon Chuhai. Now this lemon Chuhai is actually strong Chuhai. I don't know what that means. Let's find out. You know what that means? That means it's 9% alcohol instead of 8. Big whoop. Okay, well, that was less than climactic. Okay, so that was great. Oh, and I remembered who I was kept forgetting about last night at Dancing with the Stars. It was Allison Holker. I love Allison Holker. I'm so glad that she's back, especially after she just had her baby. She looks amazing. I don't know if I'm digging the haircut. I liked her long hair before, but she's still an incredible dancer. And I like the way that she tends to push the judges' expectations of what is expected of her, kind of like Mark Ballas does. And to a certain extent, that is good. That's a good trait. So I enjoy that about her. Okay, but that's who I remembered, My memory's not what it used to be, but I do end up figuring shit out, and then I let you know afterwards. Okay, so Below Deck. Okay, so this week's Below Deck. Excuse me. There's that strong chew high right there. So this week's Below Deck. Just when you think that okay, certain things are set up, you can totally see certain things happening from a mile away because of the way that the show is edited. Okay? So for the way that the show was edited on episode 1, you could tell Trevor was a dick. Like right away, you're like, this guy is a total dick. And then this episode totally cemented that. Now, every now and then, though, they do some things that surprise you. So, like at the end of last week's episode, Captain Lee was basically saying, "You need to do your job. I'm not doing your job and yours." And I was actually a little bit disappointed in him because I felt like, this is Kelly's first time doing his job. You should give him at least a little guidance. But then during this week's episode, they showed that whole scene, and he does give Kelly guidance. So still big props to Captain Lee because he totally is a great boss. So big snaps to him. Okay, so Trevor, the senior deckhand, is a total dick, and everyone had it with him. Everyone went off on him. Both of the deckhands went off on him. Kelly had it with him, and he was even in front of Captain Lee. Okay, first of all, Kelly is technically his boss, right? Captain Lee is his big boss because he's in charge of Kelly, but Kelly is the one who's in charge of Trevor. But Trevor does not care that Kelly sees him, slacking off or fucking around. And his whole attitude is, well, if you're going to cause me, what did he say? He said something about how, oh, if you're going to talk shit about me, that's what it was. And he's not, obviously you can tell he's too young to have any sort of corporate mentality, because what happened was Nico went to Kelly, his boss, and he said, "Look, I'm having issues with Trevor. This is why." And he laid out the reasons. So I just, think if we were to continue like this throughout the rest of the charter season, it might be difficult. Okay, understandable, right? But Trevor did not take it that way. Trevor's like, if you've got a problem with me, you need to say it to my face. But he doesn't get that in the corporate world, that is exactly how you're supposed to do things. You go to your boss, which he is also Nico's boss, and you air your grievances. Because what if the problem that he had with Trevor actually wasn't Trevor's fault? What if Nico was being a dick? Then that's where Kelly steps in and says, maybe you might want to cut him some slack, or maybe you might want to, look at yourself. But he didn't actually. He agreed with him because he's like, yeah, he's. And then later that night, Trevor totally proved why he's a big old dick. So if anyone's going home, I definitely think he's probably going home, and it's going to be sooner than later. That's for sure. And what's so funny is it's like, I've been a bosun before. I've been a bosun before. But then, they were of little boats. So if you're a bosun of a canoe, I don't think that's a big deal, right? And B, he has said himself, I would never want to be a bosun of a boat this big. Well, in or out? Quit wasting the taxpayers' money, right? Anyways. So in terms of the interior, so Kate had her crew, right? And she's got her stewardesses, and I told you Sierra Storms was going to be trouble. She wasn't that much trouble, though, to be perfectly honest. All she did was she did oversleep once, and she did leave okay. So the day that she overslept, this was hilarious. Captain Lee called down, was like, "Interior, I need a cup of coffee. Is there anyone can bring me a cup of coffee?" So she woke up right away. She's like, I'll be right there. So she made him a cup of coffee. But so he's like, and bless Captain Lee, because he wasn't really that upset with her, but he was like, well, at least she tried, because she left the sugar in the packet, in the coffee. So there is a soggy packet of sugar in his coffee. And he was like, well, I guess it's timed release. Hilarious. And she did apologize to Kate, which is exactly what you're supposed to do. If you make a mistake like that, you've got to say to your boss, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. And she's like, that's fine. I know that you don't need me to do that otherwise. So I get that. So if anything were to happen with her, it would probably be a lot further down the line than if it happened with Trevor. I see Trevor going home a lot sooner than anybody else, right? And it's not because he can't do his job, but because he can't get along with anyone because he's an asshole. Okay. Well, last thing, Kate. Okay, I love me some Kate. I think it's great. But my mom Shout out to Hot Hot Penny. She thinks that Kate is new. Like Kate is a new person. I don't know about that. I don't know how new she is, but um, she is like, because she's like a little sex looks good on her because she's just very go with the flow. And I was like, are you kidding? She's always been like that. Like I've never not known her to be like that. These charter guests are great charter guests, so she doesn't need to get all uppity, you know? Like she has the best one-liners. Like yes, last week when she was talking about Sierra Storms, she was like, "She is so beautiful and she is so sweet. I don't think she realizes that she can be a lot bitchier." I mean, that was hilarious. She really has some good quips. So I'm in. I don't think she's changed that much. I've loved her from before and I love her now. So I think she's great. Okay, so anyway, so that's Below Deck. Tomorrow night, after my wonderful day at Tokyo Disneyland, I'm going to be discussing Days of Our Lives. Okay, so everybody have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Oyasumi nasai mase.